So, it is April, so we are talking about the 4th album in Taylor Swift's discography, which is of course Red. What is there to say about Red? First of all, it's really long, it's her longest album, and that really puts into perspective just how much work I'm going to have to put into this video to put it out on time, which I'm gonna. And also, it is the album of experimentation, because she has so many songs and she takes her time to really approach many different topics and different themes. And what I think is most important here, also different sounds. And what that means is that we're going to have EDM, we're going to have ukulele, hipster music, and most importantly, we're going to have pop, which of course is going to become Taylor's bread and butter over the next however many years. But this is the beginning of a pure pop sound from her. Alright, so let's jump right into this deep dive in which we're going to talk about everything Red, and then at the end I'm going to rank these songs, which is going to be interesting because historically this has been the album I have put towards the bottom of my list of Taylor Swift albums. I know it's mean, but I'm really curious to see where this is going to end up come the end of this video. So, without further ado, let's jump into our favorite section, which is basic info. So, obviously, the title of this album is Red. It's very simple and short, and it is a reference to a different album called Blue, which is by Joni Mitchell, who has famously said if she's going to sing Good Luck about Taylor. It was released on October 22nd, 2012, which is significant considering the development of things like the internet around it, which I think impacts this album very much. It is very long, like I said. The original version has 16 tracks, which is an hour and 4 minutes, but these are going to pile up with all the other stuff that is going to be added on top of these 16 tracks, and it's going to get very, very long, so beware of that. At the end, we're going to have 32 tracks. I think what defines Red is its relationship with the rapidly evolving world around it, because in here, Taylor is for the first time not just trying to be like cool, but also trying to be internet cool. And what it meant at the time is being a hipster, like I've previously mentioned. So once again, Taylor will position herself as the quirky girl, but it will be through the filter of Tumblr mustaches and infinity signs, and so she's going to be like the older sister, but also the hipster from the internet. And once again, because of the length, she explores basically every subject possible that she could through this lens. So the singles for this album have been We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, Begin Again, I Knew You Were Trouble, 22, Red, Everything Has Changed, and The Last Time. Now let's take a look at the cover, and by that I mean the standard cover. She is wearing a shirt and a black white rimmed hat. She is shrouded in a lot of shadow, which gives her this mysterious air. And the focal point of this image are her face and her lips, which are very, very red. We're supposed to be looking at the bottom half of her face, and obviously the red lipstick is tied into the concept of this era, which is the color red. We can also see that her eyes are almost closed, and also, surprisingly, that she has bangs, because this is when Taylor debuted bangs and kind of straighter hair. It's still a little bit wavy here, but in this era you'll see her having fully straight hair, which was a big contrast to her signature curly hair look that she basically had for forever before this era. Now let's take a look at the back of the album, which is obviously going to be the track list, and I'm really glad that I can read it. I just have to tilt my head a little bit and we're fine in comparison to Speak Now. Go watch that video if you don't know what I'm talking about. So, the 16 songs that make it onto the standard album of Red State of Grace, Red, Treacherous, I Knew You Were Trouble, All Too Well, I Almost Do, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, Stay, 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 The Last Time, featuring someone who I thought was from Paw Patrol, but is actually from Snow Patrol, Holy Ground, Sad, Beautiful, Tragic, The Lucky One, Everything Has Changed, Starlight, and Begin Again. And I love just how much space We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together is taking up here. It's like 2 songs, basically. Then we can look at the deluxe edition, which is the same picture basically, except that we have this decal of the word red, also in red, and we're shrouding her in even more mystery. I'm making things up like right now. But we're shrouding her in more mystery here, because not only is she behind shadow, she's also behind these letters, so we're kind of peeking in between these windows into her face that is already really mysterious. And then on the deluxe edition, we only have a couple of tracks that have been added as bonus tracks. Once again, I am not counting the original demos or acoustic versions for here or for the rankings. We're talking about the fully original stuff. So in here we have The Moment I Knew, Come Back Be Here, and Girl at Home. 2012, lol XD, right, is the year that this album was released, so we obviously also have to talk about it. And this is a significant year for the internet, because newsflash, is huge now. It's huge enough that it can't be ignored, and even by Taylor Swift, who was famously really active on sites like Tumblr. So I have included here a 2012 aesthetic. Obviously, we have the mustache, I remember the Arizona iced tea, or green tea, sorry, for example. I remember the YOLOs and the infinity signs, and I'm probably naming very painful memories right now, but it is important for the story that we're telling right now. And for the stuff that was released, we of course have the Avengers, the Diva, the Moment, the Movement, and also the Hunger Games, which is going to become very relevant later. And I don't know why I put Les Mis and Rise of the Guardians, because they showed up when I googled. Now we need to talk about the aesthetics of the album, because this album, just like any of the Taylor Swift album, has aesthetics that have clung to it, whether intentionally or not by Taylor, that the entire fandom associates with Red. And these are things that are not necessarily official media. They don't have to be name dropped on the album, but they are intrinsic to the experience. So I have taken to Pinterest.com to look for the exact aesthetics that we associate with Red the album, and these are my findings. First of all, intriguingly enough, it's not just the color red, but specifically the combination of red, white and black. Then we have anything autumnal, so we're talking leaves, we're talking oranges and reds, of course. We're talking any kind of autumnal landscape photo. Then we have scars. These show up a lot because of All Too Well. We have cars, but specifically red cars, and I've also included here an image of the road, and the road is usually also surrounded by orange, so autumnal trees. Then we have the red lip, which is obviously an extremely iconic element on this album and just for Taylor in general. Then we have, which intrigued me the most, is the frequent reoccurrences of heart-shaped glasses, specifically sunglasses, but I don't think exclusively. There were just so many of them, and it's such a specific thing, and it's probably because of the still from the 22 music video, which I think that's what it is. Then we have vintage stuff, which I think is tied to that hipster aesthetic that I've been talking so much about. Then we have cakes, which again I think is a music video thing, but it showed up a lot. I think they are specifically red velvet cakes, which makes so much sense here, but they just made me hungry when I was scrolling through Pinterest, so now I want all of these. And then I think the most important element of this whole picture here is the big city, because Taylor has always sang about small towns and being a small town girl. And so here, having big cities be associated with this album signifies a large change in her topics and the character of this album as a whole. In a way, I remember on one song in Speak Now, she describes moving to a city. It's not a triumphant song, it's in Never Grow Up, but it does describe her moving from a small town to a city, assumingly from a small town. But she goes to the city, and in this album, we are in the city. Let's talk about some of the official visuals, which are going to be the music videos released by the Taylor team. So we have 6 overall, the first one being Safe and Sound. Safe and Sound is a song made for the Hunger Games movie, one of the 2 that she made, and they also made a promotional video for it, which is a music video for Safe and Sound. And then we have We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, Begin Again, I Knew You Were Trouble, 22, and Everything Has Changed. When it comes to Taylor's visuals, we are talking about also a very big change, because when I think about Taylor in this time period, I think of this one Tumblr post that says Taylor Swift's ability to look like your older sister who just graduated from Columbia, a second grade teacher, a politician's trophy wife, and your man's side chick all at the same time will be nothing if not inspiring to me. And this is exactly what we're talking about. I think the 50s housewife, I think the little cute like girl teacher or something, but also more like revealing clothing signifying her older age. It's all here. And obviously we need to talk about the red t-shirts. I have a wallpaper now referencing one of those t-shirts. These are from the Era store, but I think they originate in the 22 music video, and they have just little pieces of text in black and white and a little bit of red. And then the hairdo, I think the one that I have on the screen right now, I think really exemplifies the hair that she wears in the red era. And obviously we have the bangs, which have basically stuck around for basically up until now. She has bangs now, and her hair is straightened. The bangs are straight, and her hair is almost leading us towards that bowl cut that she's going to have later. But at this point, her hair is still long and it's still sort of wavy, but it can be straight too, and it can be less curly and more wavy. Now, for my favorite and most exhausting part of the video is the frequent motifs. This is where I go through the album and try and fish out any sort of themes that crop out time and time again on this album, and this is what I have found to be some of the most reoccurring themes on the album. Now, this album has 32 songs, so there are things that naturally are going to come up at least twice, and so I have made it a rule that they had to come up at least 3 times, and if one of them was All 10 Well, then it had to be at least 4 times. I think I made it happen, but some of them might not adhere to this rule that I've made for myself. But this is what I was trying to do to limit these, because otherwise we'd be here all day. So firstly, I just had to include Autumn and Leaves because that showed up twice, but it felt like they were really significant moments, so I included them, especially since now Red is seen as an autumnal album anyway. Next we have the color red, which comes up more than you think, and it's mostly on the song Red, but not only on the song Red, so I have included it even though it's kind of obvious. But it's nice that she name drops it, because it's not like she can easily drop 1989 in the other album, right? But Red, easy word, easy peasy, so it happens quite a bit. Then we have a big city, and this one I was so excited about because when I saw all the pictures, I really wanted it to be represented not just by the aesthetic that the Swifties have in their head, but also through what she is singing about, just to make this a better point. And when I really put my mind to it, I found so many different references, not just to like cities in general, like city life, but to specific big cities like London and New York specifically, but also LA, like the Angel City in The Lucky One, and also Beverly Hills in I Bet You Think About Me, which is also, I think, in California, right? So there's so many of them. I think I have 2 full slides of just big city lyrics. And then we have using the phone, which I imagine her using a smartphone, which I think obviously she doesn't specify, but I imagine her using like a chunky iPhone from back in the day. So when she throws the phone at the guy in Stay, 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 she's not throwing a rotary, what is it called? A rotary phone. At him, she's throwing like a smartphone. That's what I imagine, and we get quite a couple of references to the phone. Then we get parties, and don't ask me why I included Christmas here too. I felt like that would be significant, and I didn't include birthdays because they're gonna come up later, but I did include Christmas because I think it made sense. Okay, argue with me in the comments if you want to, but here is that category. And so obviously I also included 22 because it's a party song and it has some of these examples. Then we have the middle of the night, and I included actual hours that in my opinion are the middle of the night. Maybe 5 a.m. is stretching it a little bit, but I included it. And also sleeping, right? And middle of the night, the phrase just being uttered in full, or I guess partially, I don't remember. And here's another slide of the middle of the night stuff. Then we have cars, our favorite subject, and Taylor's favorite subject. Obviously, because she mentions them all the time. She can't get away from these things. She loves cars ever since the beginning. But I will say that at the beginning, with stuff like Debut, it was trucks. I was picturing her in like regular person cars. But here, she starts us off with a Maserati and whatever else, and it feels bougie. It feels like she's moving up in the world a little bit. And here's more cars, because of course. Then we have like a child, which I have noticed 3 times, which I thought would be interesting because it's a theme that I don't think about when I think red, but it happens 3 times. Then we have hearts, which again relates to the color red quite a bit, because obviously hearts are red, and they do come up, and it's easy to include because obviously she writes love songs and hearts do come up kind of naturally. But it's nice that she has it here because it's red, and it's just like the color red is a fun thing to mention just for the aesthetics of it. Then we have past and memory. Again, this is one that I had a lot of examples for. I know that Taylor writes about her past and her memories quite a lot, but I'm talking about the specific name drops of memories and the past. And I have grouped them together for some reason. I don't know why, so don't ask. But here they are. I just thought they would be kind of on theme together. Then we have probably the favorite thing of mine that I noticed, which is the theme of death and aging, because I think aging is pretty obvious with songs like Nothing New and 22 being a birthday song. We have more references to death and feeling like you're aging than you would think on this whole album. I have another slide of these if you're interested. Then we have another slide which I think is kind of a stretch, but I made it, so I need to defend it. But it's Mean Gossip. I don't know what to call these kind of little quotes that she does. They're not even always quotes. They're quotes in 22, but they are like little things that other people say, or just gossip in general that I think comes up one too many times not to be noticed and put on this list. Then we have doors. This is what I'm talking about. This is the true theme searching that I set out to do. The word door comes up a bunch of times on this album, and I think it's significant, so I included the word door. Also the house interior. I was gonna put bathroom, but unfortunately there's only 2 times that word is used, so bathroom is not really a big enough of a theme to include it, but together with kitchens and living room stuff and stuff like that, I have decided to put it down as house interior. And then knowing a lot and knowing nothing being contrasted happens twice, and twin flames, or things adjacent to that also mentioned twice. Now, I didn't make whole slides about these, but these are some of my honorable mentions. I will say Spinning, because that's mentioned in 3 songs actually. Honestly, probably should have included that one, but I didn't want to modify my presentation anymore. Work or Working in I Almost Do and Message in a Bottle. Sky in Run, The Very First Night and Nothing New. Streetlights in Holy Ground, Old and Well, and I Think Something Else I wrote down. And Running in Run, of course, and in Better Man. Now let's move on to Taylor's version. I'm not going to explain the whole entirety of the Taylor's versions, but she re-recorded the albums, some of them, and then she also added more songs. So here we are, November 12th, 2021. We have gotten Red, Taylor's version, with 31 tracks. I am not counting that one acoustic song, and it adds up to 2 hours and 10 minutes. Why did I write it like that? I don't know. Oh, +2. Okay, I get it. Let me start over, okay? 30 tracks on the Red Taylor's version, and then 2 tracks that I'm also counting here, which we're going to talk about real soon. The singles for Red Taylor's version were I Bet You Think About Me, Message in a Bottle, and All Too Well 10 Minutes. We actually got 2 music videos, and one of them is All Too Well, and that just shows that some of these other Taylor's versions, those girls, they got paid dust. This one got 2 music videos, and one of them is a short film, and they were All Too Well and I Bet You Think About Me, which I also think is a cute music video, and it has a lot of cake, and I love red velvet cakes. I don't know. The album cover is her just kind of sitting there in a car because she loves her cars, and I'm gonna try and talk about the cover for a minute here. She's not in shadow as much, but she's also wearing a hat. This time she's wearing a coat because it's autumn now, whereas I think based on the way that she was dressed in the original, I think it was more warm, I would guess. And this coat has some scary looking buttons, I'm going to tell you that. I don't like them. Honestly, maybe I do like them. They look like little baby caterpillars. Like if they had little antennas and stuff, maybe. But they're brown too. I don't know. And she's also wearing a ring that says red, which I didn't notice for a long time. And I don't know if I like it. I think I don't like it. But let's not look at it. And overall, it's a pretty cover. And I think it fits the aesthetic of autumn that I think she tried to put on this album. Now, the track list is hilarious because you can't see anything here because it's just so small and she has so many songs, but I have highlighted red on red for you, especially for you. You don't have to thank me in the comments, and we're going to list them. So the extra tracks are Ronan, Better Man, Nothing New, Babe, Message in a Bottle, I Bet You Think About Me, Forever Winter, Run, The Very First Night, and All Too Well 10-minute version. And then I am also counting these 2 songs, Safe and Sound and Eyes Open, which are, like I mentioned, for the Hunger Games movie that came out the same year. But the icon for them is the Taylor's version icon. And since they were released around the same time, and she re-recorded them for Red Taylor's version, I am counting them as a part of Red. So they will affect the overall rating of the album. Then we have, finally, the Eras Tour, which oh my gosh, why do I have so many freaking notes? So, the Eras Tour performance of Red is very long in comparison to some people. Speak Now. She does a couple of songs in full, which is interesting, and some abridged, let's say like that. And the abridged song is I Knew You Were Trouble. And originally it came after Speak Now and before Folklore, and then it was moved to be after Fearless and before Speak Now, which is extremely important. No, it's not. And the performance itself, despite being moved, it did not really change from one version to the other, except for the fact that in the tour movie of the final performance, they do include the box, which is this thing that they roll around before she comes in. The dancers kind of walk around it. There's this one dancer who opens it a couple of times and it plays some songs, and they're extra songs from Red, so I guess they have to be mentioned. But I forgot what the box was about when I watched it, and I was fully convinced that she was going to come out of the box. So the songs that the box plays, that we get from the box's mouth, are State of Grace, Holy Ground and Red, and then from Taylor's mouth we get 22, Never Ever, I Knew You Were Trouble, and All Too Well 10 minutes version in full. So she enters in the iconic t-shirts, and they differ from show to show, and she does 22, and then underneath it she has a bodysuit with more red on it, and she does I Knew You Were Trouble, and before that she does Never Ever, both in this bodysuit, and then she puts on this cool long glittery coat, and she plays the entirety of All Too Well 10 with her guitar. Honestly, I don't know if the guitar actually does anything or if it's just for vibes, but she does sure hold the guitar. So I really like that her dancer Cam gets a bit of a speaking role during Never Ever, and in the final show he actually says for the last time no. That's really cute. And I adore the I Knew You Were Trouble performance. I think anyone who doesn't like that song, I direct them to this performance. It's genius. It's really good. They use the smoke quite a bit and it looks great and it's vibey and I love it. I also love the little modifications that she put in the All Too Well performance. The way she shouts "Who is she?" and stuff like that really adds to the song, in my opinion. Also, the staging in general is very Red, and they use the stuff like the smoke and balloons for some reason, and like confetti and stuff, and I think it's really effective. So that is basically all that I have to say about Red before the ranking, and I think we are ready to face the tier list. So without derailing it even more, here is the tier ranking. See you on the other side. Okay, welcome to the ranking portion of the video. So about my tier ranking process here, it's really simple. We're just going to be assigning them points. The only thing you have to know is that I'm going to be also ranking them in order in the categories, and the D tier is actually for the songs that I can't listen to because they're too sad for me. So in this tier I'm not going to be organizing them because it's difficult to organize sadness, right, if they're all devastating. And then the S tier is extremely difficult to get into. It's like my top 5 Taylor Swift songs, so there is no promise that we're even going to put anything in there. The only other thing that I want to say is that we can all have our opinions, and I respect your opinions, so you can also respect mine. And just because I don't like some songs doesn't mean that they are actually objectively bad. They're just subjectively not my thing, and the same goes for your opinions. So without further ado, I think we can get into the ranking with the first song. So many people will tell you that this is the best opening to a Taylor Swift album. I am not one of these people. I think it's an okay song. It is basically a mission statement about the rest of the album, and the album is about being in love in your 20s, so this is what the song is about, and it kind of foreshadows a lot of the themes that are going to be appearing later on the album. So it's kind of like the opening of a musical. I'm going to be putting it, if I can find it, I didn't make this tier list, I'm going to be putting it in B tier, but it's very low on my B tier. I have been putting it compulsively into B, but I kind of think it's sometimes more of a C, but I think it's a B actually. I don't know, it's pretty confusing, but this is my final ranking. I just never really reach for it, but when it comes on, I can vibe with it. Also, I always think she's going to say, "These are the hands of state, you're my Achilles heel." So, you know, when we say that she's the industry, we do mean the government. Red is going straight into the A tier. I literally wrote down nothing about this song, so it kind of just has to speak for itself. I am obsessed with the bridge, and it's just a really good song. It's one of those songs about a past relationship and her reminiscing about different feelings that it comes with, and also she uses colors as metaphors, and this is why she uses the color red, and this is why we have the album name, and it's really good, so it deserves to be an A. If you know how I feel about Sparks Fly, you probably know how I feel about Treacherous, because both of these songs feature similar themes of hiding being in love and forbidden love and stuff like that. So this one is definitely an A tier, and it's actually going to be before Red. This one is actually more understated than Sparks Fly, so I don't like it as much as that one, but it does definitely have its moments. And it has a double chorus, and I'm obsessed with that. Also, I'll follow you home. Close enough. Welcome back, Joe from You. I knew you were trouble. I was not familiar with your game. You're going in A. This is a song about a relationship with a freaking bad boy, and I used to love it when I was little, but then I think it kind of got ruined by a lot of play on the radio and maybe by the goat meme. There is a domino effect from Taylor releasing this song to Thor Love and Thunder flopping at the box office, and I can't prove it, but there is one.
This is tradition.
Shout out to my boys at Here Comes Treble for inspiring this song.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Treble!
The last thing I want to say about I Knew You Were Trouble is, have you ever noticed that for TV, she actually removed the period at the end? I'm not gonna say it keeps me up at night, but it's definitely a head scratcher. Autumn leaves falling down like pieces into place? Yes. Break me like a promise? Well, yes. This song has kind of been overshadowed by the Monster on the Hill, which is the 10 minutes version. And I must admit, I do feel like there's something missing when I listen to the shorter version, which is the real version. But I do feel like I want to get into a line that doesn't exist in this one, or a bit that doesn't exist. But it is still the best song ever made. It's about basically remembering a past relationship and being hurt by it. In comparison to the 10 minutes version, it is kind of like a fancy dessert in comparison to like a whole feast of like a bag of crisps. It's like, I'm probably going to pick the bag of crisps, but the fancy dessert has been selected by a professional, and they're both equally as good, but I reach for the bag of crisps a lot more often. Once again, 22, I was not familiar with your game. I remember this being just a silly little song about being 22, but it's actually a great silly little song about being 22. This one is like New Romantics before we had New Romantics, and that's going to make sense next month. You look like bad news, I gotta have you. Yes. This one, I couldn't describe what I was feeling when I was listening to this, but what actually I think I'm picking up on is big Simorelli vibes. I was so surprised by how much I love this song, so this one's definitely an A. Now, I Almost Do is a song that I do not know, but we are getting acquainted, okay? At the beginning of this month, I was like, who is she? I don't know this song. And I was putting it in F. But I have realized that it's actually a pretty good song, and I like it. It's about remembering a past relationship once again, but considering getting back with them, and she almost does every time. Well, yes! This one is a hit. This one is about on and off relationships. It might not be the first song in which she like talks, but it's definitely the poster child for it, and it's so sassy and exciting. An indie record that's much cooler than mine. Listen, Jake Gyllenhaal, if you besmidge Speak Now, once again, I will send A Train to get you. Is that too much? I'm not actually going to do that. Lastly, I just have to mention the way she says, yeah, in the song. It's really cool. Okay, let's get into Stay, Stay, Stay. This is an F tier song, okay? We have to respect people who love this song and think it's okay and great and the best thing ever written, but we also have to respect people who don't have that opinion, and that's me. This song brings me back. This is something like a YouTube parody song from the 2010s, and it kind of grinds my gears every time I hear it. She's doing a voice, and I don't like that she's doing a voice. It's really strange. It's giving, that just happened. I don't know. The only thing that I really like about it is the bridge, which is not enough to get me through the rest of this. She's trying something new and like good for her, but it's not good for me. And it's really unserious, but not in a way that I like, it's in a way that I don't like. So very much sorry to stay and stay people. But it's not it. I guess I should say what it's about, right? It's about wanting the relationship to stay. And that's what it's about. It's very simple and I don't really like it. I've never heard this song in my life. And genuinely, I did read this guy's name as somebody from Paw Patrol, so sorry to that man. The song trips up right at the beginning because I don't understand what the situation is. They're just like coming to each other's doors and apologizing or trying to get back together. I have no idea. Do not make me explain what the song is about. I have no idea. But it does have a nice melody, so on music alone and just the music, it's going to be in C because it gets stuck in my head quite a lot. But every time it comes on, I'm like, oh, here we go, this one. She's cute, she's energetic, she's a song. I think it's fine. I have no idea what it's about. It's totally surrealist to me, and I'm not going to explain. And it's a C song. Close enough. Welcome back, Folklore and Evermore. Look, just because I'm yawning doesn't mean I'm not having fun, okay? I mean, if we want to return to the Folkmore thing, this one is really like that because it's kind of like a vignette of a story from the past, maybe even just some random people's story, not really Taylor. And it feels like it's set in the past to me. It feels like a period piece. And it's about a doomed relationship. She says, too little too late in the song. And I really like the lines in here. Time is taking its sweet time erasing you, and good girls, hopeful they'll be, and long they will wait. Very pretty. It's a very beautiful song. 10 months older, I must admit. Just because you're clean don't mean you don't miss. What do you mean that's not the same song? I might be confusing two songs, but to me they sound the same. I don't know if I'm the only one. The lucky one is going into B. And it's a song about being a celebrity. It's a sad song, especially about being a female celebrity. And it's very similar to Britney's song, Lucky, and I think that's on purpose. Not in the sound, but in the themes and obviously the title. I also gagged at the lyric, another name goes up in lights, you wonder if you'll make it out alive, because for the first time I understood it's because she thinks she's going to be replaced, and it's very nothing new, which we'll get to in a minute. I also love how she compares Rose Garden and Madison Square, because Madison Square is also called a garden, her mind. And I learned that because of the song. I do think that's because it's a B. I do think that she covers this topic a little bit better on other songs. Everything has changed. Everything has changed is so sweet and so kind, and I love it so much. It's literally my favorite song on this album. It's about finding your person, and it's not even 100% sure if it's romantic or if it's platonic. Obviously it's sung by Taylor and Ed Sheeran, who are in real life friends, so it could be about a friendship. And it's just the most adorable song I've ever heard, and I've loved it since I heard it for the first time. Wow, she doesn't waste time getting into this one. She's like, everything has changed. I met Bobby. It's either that or I'm Barbie. You have to pick. Genuinely, I do prefer the Barbie one, but I think Bobby makes more sense in context. So this is a song that I actually requested from Taylor when I said I wanted her to write more songs about superheroes, and she actually chose a pretty niche one. And I actually do think it makes sense that she would like Starlight, and I agree, Starlight's great. I know, this is a song about the Kennedys, somehow. But simply put, this is just a song about a whirlwind relationship during the summer back in, I guess, the 40s, right? And having 10 kids for some reason, which is crazy. But it has a very high energy, and for that reason, it's going very high into B. My only note on it at the end would be when she finishes the song and she says, don't you think impossible things? I think that's supposed to be a question, but it sounds like an order, like, don't you think impossible things or I'll get ya. Okay, the final of the original tracks, Begin Again, I will be putting also in B. How many times can I say about the song, she's cute, and move on? Because this is a very cute song, and I kind of forgot to take notes about it. Sorry. It's about meeting a guy who appreciates you, and it's so cute. It's like this wholesome date with the main character being mistreated before and having kind of a sad relationship, and now she meets a guy who's like a ray of sunshine, and he appreciates her, and he doesn't even realize how much that means to her, and it's very sweet. It makes me feel like I'm reading a cute romance book, and I really like it. She had a sinking feeling in the bathroom. I wonder why. The Moment I Knew is a song that describes an extremely specific scenario. Like when I listened to this album for the first time back in the day, I was like, she's run out of ideas. She's writing about a birthday party that somebody didn't show up to. But now I get it. I think that this is a very specific feeling, but I think the feeling itself could be applied to other situations, and I think she does a very good job explaining it and describing it. It's also a birthday song. I mean, it isn't, but it does use the line "Happy Birthday to You," which is very funny because she immediately puts herself in competition with one of the most well-known songs in the world, and she somehow pulls it off. There is no reason for me to like this song as much as I do, which is a little bit, but still, I used to think this was an FTA song. Come Back Be Here is yet another me having a playlist on while I'm in the shower classic. It's really high up. I think this is a very good song. It's about a blooming relationship and them realizing they might be in love, but they have to go do something else for work or whatever, so they're going to be separated, and the main character is singing about how she misses him and how she was just falling in love. This line always takes me out. The plane was spinning? Girl, if the plane is spinning, you have bigger problems on your plate right now. Girl at home, get behind me. Get behind me, because this is a song that people do not like because they think that it is promoting cheating, which is crazy because this is a song talking about a guy approaching the narrator and trying to go out with her even though he's taken, right? And she tells him adamantly, she tells him no. And that's the whole song. And she does say, I might go with it if I was a stupid gal, which like, yeah, and yeah, if I was an idiot are two very different responses, right? She does imply that she has gone through with something like this before, but obviously she's repented, right? She's changed. She doesn't believe in that anymore. She has a whole song about it, and it's this song. It's the song you're listening to right now. This is also a song that changed the most on TV. Like, she tried to bury it, like we would forget that it exists. And I think I'm going crazy because I think it was more different back in the day. Right now it doesn't feel as different, but that might be just me. I actually did consider ranking this as two separate songs, but I'm not gonna, because it's one song to me, especially since it's not that different now, for some reason. Ronan is a devastating song. It's about this little boy who passed away tragically at just 3 years old because of cancer, and Taylor wrote it as a charity song, and the proceeds from it went to different charities, and I can't listen to it. It's probably her saddest song, for obvious reasons, and because of that I'm going to put it in the unrankable crying song tier. Better Man reminds me so much of Fearless, and I think to sum this song up, I would first of all I would put it in B, and then I would say that she says we might still be in love if you were a better man. That's what the song is about. It has a very familiar melody, and I don't really know where I know it from, but I know it's not from here. So I don't know. And my favorite part of the song is at the end, when the backing vocals sound like younger Taylor. I don't think it's actually her, but it sounds like she's actually duetting with her younger self. Nothing new. Okay, Nothing New is also going into the crying tier. So, okay, for the past month, I have been noticing a dip in my mood. I have been feeling super bad about myself and about things that I have accomplished and being productive, and I genuinely have been feeling depressed, and I really do think that this song has something to do with it, because those are the themes, that's what the song is about, and it's really, really good, right? So I want to listen to it, but somebody needs to take it away from me, because it's bad for me. It just feels like a personal attack. Like the line, how can a person know everything at 18 but nothing at 22? I think about this all the time. This line is so great. And it's crazy to me that she wrote the song all the way back then and it's still relevant to this day, sadly. Babe, okay, this is about her partner cheating on her and her breaking it off. And it's crazy that she wrote the song so long after Should Have Said No, and it's still worse because Should Have Said No is one of the best songs of all time, and Babe is a good song. I like it. I've put it in B. But like, if you're looking for a different four-letter word to name the song with, I would say mild. This is the last time I'll ever call you babe. Whoa, Taylor, calm down. You're taking this too far now. This being said, I do really get into this song, so it has to be a B. Okay, so have you ever seen one of the Zootopia movies? Because if you have, you will know that at the end of each Zootopia movie, there is a big dance party with a Gazelle song, and Gazelle is actually Shakira, and these songs are really fun, but they're also kind of shallow, and they're just about partying, and they have a very cool beat, and you get into them. So Message in a Bottle kind of gives me Zootopia vibes, but without the animals. I do love the ad-libs in this, when she says down and now, and I also love the way she says disaster. I love it. I listen to this song and I just get so hyped, but it has to be a C. It's just a C song. I bet you think about me. There she is, not giving her collaborators a single line, just like the day I met her. This is the best song ever made. Basically, it's a song about a past relationship between two people. One of them is high society and the other person is just normal, and the narrator is the normal person, and she's like basically belittling the guy for breaking it off with her because they were too different, but he still misses her and wants her to come back. And it's so sassy and funny, and I love it so much. For example, I love the way she says upper class cycles, but it sounds like upper crust cycles. I love that. Her mind. Okay, Forever Winter is another song that I just cry through. This song is about having a loved one deal with really bad mental health and suicidal thoughts, and unfortunately it is inspired by Taylor's real life friend who tragically has passed away since, and it makes me cry, so it has to be in that tier. Run is the most boring song ever made. I'm putting it in C because it has a nice melody and it gets stuck in my head. Every time Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift go to write a song, God flips a coin, and it's either the best song ever made or absolute just boredom. And do not make me explain what this song is about. It's like, I don't know, love and running. Take that. I don't know any more than that. The Very First Night is my new obsession. It's going into B tier, but it's good. It's a good B tier because it used to be an F. Once again, it's a past relationship song, but they want to go back together, kind of. They're on and off, and we all know how I feel about that kind of song, about a second chance romance. So it flew up in the ranking from F to B and like top of B. Okay, Monster on the Hill time. All Too Well 10 minutes version. Also, completely unrelated to this, but I do wonder who Sadie Sink will be playing in Brand New Day. I do hope it's Taylor Swift. Do I even have to explain the 10-minute version? This is obviously a masterpiece, and it has to go in A. So, if you didn't know the story about All Too Well, it's that she released All Too Well back in the day, obviously, and she let it slip at one point that there is actually a 10-minute version out there somewhere that she has, but it's unreleased, and people ever since have been hounding her for it. And finally, we got it with Red TV. A lot of people didn't think it existed, actually, but it does. Although my controversial opinion is that this song is not actually 10 minutes, it's more like 8.5, because the last 2 minutes or so are just her repeating the same lines. Like she's kind of trying to pad for time because she said 10 minutes, so it has to be 10 minutes. I also had to check what T-Ball is, and it's adorable. And All Too Well 10 is the best song ever made. So the only two songs left are the ones from the Hunger Games, and I do realize you basically can't see which one's which, but this one's Eyes Open and this one's Safe and Sound, and we're starting with Safe and Sound. This song is made for the Hunger Games, obviously, you can tell, and it is very much in line with the Hunger Games universe, and it fits. I'm putting it at the end of B. It's very atmospheric, and I think it's very much like District 12 Katniss. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, read The Hunger Games. You will like it. It's The Hunger Games. And I think it's a very well-made song for a movie, and it fits it very, very well. It actually plays as the first movie ends. It's really fun that it does. Eyes open. And finally, we have Eyes Open, which is also a song that is written for the Hunger Games movie, and it also fits, but in a very different way. This one I would say is also very Katniss, but it's Katniss in the Hunger Games, or maybe in the capital. And I'm putting this one in C. I will say probably around here. And I'm actually going to swap these two. And okay, back to Eyes Open. I think that this is a very good song, but I don't really search for it. When it comes up, I'm having fun. I think it's a fun background song, but I'm just kind of interacting with it passively, so that's why it's a C. And this is my final ranking. We did it. We conquered the freaking Red album, which is so long, and I am not counting the acoustic song. You can't force me. This is not in the canon for me. And okay, so tallying up all of the points, we have, let's look at the numbers. We have 9 A's, 12 B's, 6 C's, 3 D's, and 1 F. And all that comes up, if we do the math, blah, 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 that's the math sound, we get 118 points divided by 31, which is the amount of tracks. It's 3.806. And if we divide that by 5, which is kind of like the highest rating possible, we get the percentage, and that's 76%. And eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed that this is the same ranking as debut, but I have gone back and I've checked that debut actually got a 3.79 out of 5, and this is a 3.8, so this is technically above debut. So this is our ranking right now. Red is taking the second place. I have also calculated, just for my own curiosity, the different types of Red. And so, for example, the original and the deluxe, and then also just the deluxe tracks and just the extra tailored version tracks. And I've contrasted it with our final ranking, and this is what it looks like. And this is basically it for the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, because that will make my day. And I hope you see a cat and that you can pet it and that you like cats. And I hope to see you in the next video where we're going to be talking about, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!